Hi everyone, my name is Katie and welcome to my page Red's Stitchery, and let's talk about cross stitching. I've decided I'm done fighting with the lighting. It's dark, it's November, it's raining, so I thought I'm going to use it as my advantage and try to create some kind of cozy vibe. And let's thank Lucia for helping me to create this orange madness. Lois, would you please show us your face? Lucia. Excuse me, sir. I usually always film everything, even when I have my beauty blog, on a bright setting, so this is new for me. So yeah, let's try it out. Today we're going to talk about the whips that I've been working on, and we actually going to start with the finish. The big one for me. So here's the preview. This is Studia. It's a Russian cross-stitch brand, and it came as a kit. So we have fabric, we have floss, the needle, the pattern all together. This beautiful, gorgeous peonies. It was my first big project by Studia. Stitch on a 16th count Aida black. 30 colors of Gamma Moulinet floss. Gamma, it's a Russian Moulinet brand. And besides those 30 colors, there's also those 8 blends. But there's absolutely no backstitching at all. And before I'm going to show you my final result, I'm going to show you this. Usually, I've never ever had a problem with Gamma floss, but I have a very hard time believing this is Gamma. It's so dry, it's very hard to work with it. I honestly thought it's a PNK, but no, it's Gamma. If you know Russian brands, if you ever stitched them, you know what I'm talking about. Maybe I forgot how to stitch with Gamma floss, but this is so dry. Like, it wasn't very smooth stitching. The organizer, as you can see, did not made it through. It's not even hard cardboard. It's almost as thin as paper. Look at this. And usually I keep all the flosses from the kits because I like to have a stash. Maybe I want to stitch it again. Maybe some other kits by the same brand, I run out of the floss for one reason or another. I am not saving this. It's going to be tossed. This is no point of saving it because I do not want to work with such a type of floss. It was so uncomfortably dry. I don't know what's happening. Usually Gamma floss I always save. I love this one. We were not friends. The reason, like, look at this. This is not leftovers. That's the floss. But at the end, see how long it is? It's not leftovers. At the end of my stitching, like the last 500 stitches, I really didn't care. I just wanted to be done and over with. So I didn't even bother to even try to save it. And now to the finish. As I told you before, right now I'm not ironing and washing my finishes because I don't have a comfortable spot to keep those. I'm gonna do it at the end of the year because I'm very excited to film 2024 finishes. But I'm gonna show you as it is right now. It was my first time experience with black canvas. First time stitching big project by Studia. And by the end of it, I actually enjoy stitching on black canvas. However, it's not gonna be my first choice ever. With all the light, with all the tricks that you guys recommended me and I figured out myself, it's not easy. So I started it with my stitcher friend. We started it in July of 2023. So it took me a year and a half. She finished her like in a month. I had such a hard time to get used to the black canvas, to stitch with those type of floss. I don't know, for the longest time, it was so hard to stitch it for me. It was almost like a punishment. And then this summer, I was stitching a lot outside and it kind of just got smooth, and I kind of found my comfortable speed and way, and I figured it out how to be comfortable with this project, and it's kind of just worked out. So because of the floss situation, I didn't care saving any of those floss. I was just tossing it, and at the very end, all I had to stitch was this little peony that hasn't been opened yet. And I realized I don't have any of the green floss that chart telling you to stitch it with, so I just used the leftovers, and if you look at them, you see how different they are. I simply had no other green floss left, and you know what, it's just gonna stay as it is. The farther you look, the more interesting it looks. I'm still debating what I'm going to do with that. Like, I don't know if I'm gonna frame it because it's a black canvas, and black doesn't really go with our house, like everything in the lighter colors. And I was thinking that as for right now, I think it's just gonna be kept in my roll, and I do want to invest more time next year into sewing, and I thought it's gonna be a gorgeous sewing bag, or little tote bag, or like a notebook cover, a book cover, iPad cover, something like that. Like, I see it in some kind of item that I possibly will use daily or something like that. But right now, I look at it through my camera and I really like how it looks. I think it's very pretty, and especially this pink peony and this right here element is very pretty. Since Studia is not such a popular brand here in the United States, but I still see people stitching it, but it's not as popular, I thought I'm gonna show you just a corner of the pattern because it is important. I did found Saga, so I was stitching with Saga. Again, I think everybody should stitch with Saga, but it's just my opinion. You do whatever comfortable for you. However, even if I have Saga, I constantly look at the pattern, and I actually started this cross stitch project with the paper pattern. So I'm just gonna show you this corner right here. The pattern is colorful, and in my opinion, it's easy to read. Like, the symbols are different. Your eye, it's easily pick particular symbol and like follows it. This side maybe not as easy, but like I remember this area I was stitching by the paper, and this was pretty easy to read. The key chart, it's just one line like this. The blends and the little instruction how to figure it out, what kind of blends, it's all right here. Here's my finish. I've been actively working on it for the past couple of weeks because I really want to finish it. I'm like, I am not taking it to 2025. That's enough. I spent a lot of time on it already, and I just want to be done with this project, and yeah, I'm ready to add more projects to my rotation. So this is the first project, and as for right now, it's the only finish of this couple 2 weeks, but I do have lots of progress to show you. This project I show you time to time. This is Saint Basil in Moscow, but this is older Riolis kit. Riolis, it's also Russian kit, and back then they had no names, they just have a number, so that's the number of it. I've actually seen it a lot lately on eBay, like a lot of this particular one for a super price, like $30. I bought it like 2-3 years ago, and it cost me around $50. It's a huge project. I mean, It has around 50,000 stitches in it, and I am participating in a sale. The purpose of the sale to move all of your project that you had for too long, and for some reason it's just not stitching without the sale. So my goal for this year is to achieve 50% of this project to be done. Out of curiosity, I started it in December of 2022. So next month it's going to be 2 years how I've been stitching it. But here is my progress. I finally got to the top left corner, and technically you can tell almost that 50% exactly of this project is done. Because I have Saga, I know there's 50,000 stitches. I've stitched around 25% this year, and I have 1,000 and around 500 stitches left to achieve that 50% of the project to be done, which is perfect timing. That was my goal, to not stitch 50% in this year, but stitch to the point of 50%. Next year, realistic goal, it's 25% more to stitch. Amazing goal would be to finish it, but it does take a lot of time and patience. We're gonna to put it right here for right now. I don't want to stay on this topic for too long, but if you're new here, welcome, and I just want to give you a little bit info, or like remind you if you come back viewer, which is thank you so much. This project is stitched with wool acrylic type of floss. Lots of Riolis kits stitched with this type of floss. It's very fluffy. There's pros and cons in it. The positive side is that you don't have to separate your floss. You literally just unbobbin as many as you need and you stitch with one. There's no way to separate it. However, maybe I just need more practice, and I believe I just need more practice. But my personal stitching with that, it's not as perfect as I wish it would be. Something about stitching with wool acrylic, it's difficult for me. But Riolis do put a lot of floss in it. So I just want to show you. So again, 50% almost of the project is done. And for example, this color number 15, I only finished almost 2 of those, and I have 3 spoolies full of the same color more. I almost done with the 22. I don't know, something about finishing the floss is very satisfying for me. I don't know why. I'm almost done with number 23. I'm almost done with the second number 1. And I think that's it. Every other color usually used on the building itself. Right now I am concentrated on the sky. I also want to tell, however, I'm very happy if I'm gonna have any of this white floss leftovers, because I feel like in so many projects, like for example independent designers or any snowy project, I definitely can stitch snow with that, because it's not a whisper, so it's not as fluffy, but it definitely have that like a sweater. It's like a sweater. So I'm automatically thinking in the future, if I'm gonna ever have some kind of project where I need to stitch a sweater, a scarf, or a snow, leftovers from this type of kits, it's a great idea and a great like a dimension type of floss to add to mix it with a DMC. If you watch my previous video on my cross stitch haul, I found Lizzie K design with like a snowman with a scarf. He's not a scarf, you need to stitch with a whisper, but now I'm thinking I don't need a whisper. I definitely can stitch him and his scarf with the wool acrylic, even though yes, I'm not a fan of wool acrylic, but to give that effect, that's a very good idea in my opinion. I like to show just a little corner of the pattern because maybe you've never seen Riolis patterns before and you want to try it out. Colorful, very easy to read. I love Riolis. It's been my first, I think, cross stitch kit I've ever stitched when I used to live in Russia and all of that stuff. Like, it's one of those brands that I've been stitching for a long time, and I love it. Even though I told you that I'm trying not to shop, I'm trying to, okay? I didn't say I'm not going to, I said I'm trying to. I saw this dimension kit and I just knew I have to have it. So a little bit of the haul, I have only one kit to show you. I've been actually really into stitching what I have because I created a system and I'm gonna show it to you next. But sometimes you just find a great patterns, a great kits for the great price, and you cannot say no. I think this is gonna be so fun to stitch in the spring. I don't want to open and show you the preview without the paper on top of it, without the bag on top of it, but I love the idea to put it in a pillow. And I also think graining, beads, and maybe, definitely, not maybe, but this is the item that comes in it. And the color is okay, but I'm like, definitely need to experiment with it, right? Because I do like the monochrome, white on white, or like cream on cream, but I think, what if it can be like a very light green or very light blue? It's gonna be so pretty. I don't think I've ever seen anybody stitching this kit, so if you have, please let me know, because I really want to see the finished result. I started talking about the system that I made. I'm going to show to you right now. All the projects right here that I already have started. And usually 500 stitches per day, that's the normal speed for me when I'm stitching. 500 stitches, I mean, sometimes it depends on the project, but usually it's the okay for me. So one day 500 stitches, and that's how many days I need to finish a particular project. Look at that. This is how many days. And in the row it's number 12. Don't ask me why I chose 12. I just decided to go 12. So some of this project, I really need to stitch it every day, 500 stitches for months to finish. And roughly, if I stitched only the projects that I have right here, it will take me a year. And my stash is huge. And I mean, I've seen bigger. I love watching the kids' stash videos, but it definitely have me see it in a different perception. Like, only what I've already started and it's already been stitched, like some of those projects stitched like 30%, 40%. It will take me a year to finish all of them if I will stitch them every single day, and if that number will be 500 stitches. And so many projects and kits and charts I have that not started, they're all different sizes and all of that. So that was a huge eye-opener. So I'm definitely trying not to shop, but I'm only human. Next project I have opportunity to work on. This is this gorgeous dimension, lovely Victorian home. If you watch my plans, it was supposed to be finished a long time ago, but something went wrong. I got distracted and it's not finished. So I put it on a frame, and this is where I am right now. So I don't have that much left. I have the top part left, and almost all of it, it's a half stitch except the house, and then a lot of back stitching that needs to be done. The reason why I decided to put it in a frame, it's because I'm working with the floss and it's here and then it repeated on another side on another part of the different trees. And instead of just it's just easy for me to finish the floss than keep it. But here is my progress so far. So I haven't showed you this project in a long time, and I worked on this last week on this part right here. So I stitched a little bit more tree and that the house behind those trees, and I think this week I will make this project my priority because it does needs to be done. Even though I did start it this year, and I have lots of projects that been waiting to be done way longer. I told you multiple times I have big plans for this one, and it will make me very happy if I finish it. I did started a lot of dimensions kits. This one is easy than some of them, and I've decided I need to kind of slow down on those because dimensions kit, they are some of them super easy, some of them are more difficult side, but even the easier ones, they do take your attention, your time. You need to very carefully read the pattern and all of that. So I love stitching them, but it's one of those cases when you need to have maybe one or two of this particular brand started. Otherwise, I feel like my attention is split between so many projects and I don't have progress on any of them, because this is one of those where I sit down and 500 stitches, that's the really max that I can do in one sitting, because they do take so much attention from me. And because I've started so many dimensions kits, I cannot finish any of them or have a good progress because I keep changing in between them. But anyway, this is the lovely Victorian home. I also been seeing a lot of people selling it on the eBay. So this particular kit by Dimension, it's not that hard to find. I'm stitching on original Aida. I'm stitching with original floss. I changed absolutely nothing, and I still think it's one of the prettiest kits by Dimensions. In fact, I think like everything that they've been posting lately, I like less and less, and I really wish they would start reprinting the older kits, especially like 2000, those time, because those kits are absolutely gorgeous, beautiful, breathtaking. I want to stitch them all, but it's getting harder and harder to find, and the people putting prices on eBay, it's just something that I'm not ready to spend. But here is my progress on this one so far. And I want to show you my friend, my new stitcher friend, Lauren. She sent me a most amazing gift. The one when I opened, I literally almost, actually I think I started crying because it's double handmade, and you will see what I'm talking about. She gifted me this gorgeous bag. She said it's for the project, so any other purposes, and double handmade because first of all, she stitched this gorgeous roses and it's beautiful fabric. Look at this sparkle. And then she handmade this bag. How amazing. And I put the floss from this Dimension Lovely Victorian home in here, and it motivates me to stitch because I want to see this bag as often as I can. And a little present was inside. It's this little, like a little tiny bag. She said put your scissors and needles in here, and I thought it's a great idea. So I just want to say thank you to you again so much. That's the second handmade present, well, the third, because you know there's a little surprise was inside of it she made for me, and I cherish it so much, and I think she's so talented, and I am just speechless how beautiful it is. To the project that I absolutely love showing, and if you see this box, you know what I'm talking about. My first Chatelaine miniature dragonfly tile. I didn't do much progress, but I am in kind of slower. It's not difficult, it's just very slow part. And there we go. So the last time I showed you, I've done this blue frame, and now I start editing more of those like lotus, I know how to say it in Russian, I don't remember how to say it in English, petals, but the leaves, I guess. The reason why it's slow right now, it's because I'm taking one color and it's like 2 stitches over here and I have to fix it. 2 stitches over here and fixing the floss. 2 stitches over here, fixing the floss. 2 stitches, and again and again and again and again. So the stitching itself, it's easy. It's just take a lot of time because I cannot just have a big cut of the floss and, you know, do all the stitches. I have to do a couple stitches and fix the floss. Do a couple stitches and fix the floss. I'm trying to focus on some kind of moment so you can see how many different shades of green is used in those little elements. Lots of 3/4 and 1/4 stitching. And that delicate bead is still my favorite. Just look at that sparkle, gorgeous. Not going to stay here for a long time because I talked about this project a lot. I showed you all my little things that I use in here a lot too. So I just want to show you the progress. I think there's like 41, possibly 42% is done. The next, this flower's gonna be on top here, here, here. So again, it's me taking pink, 3 stitches here, 1 here, 3 here, and so on and so on. After that, there's more dragonflies, but this time it's gonna be lots of them, and they all petite stitch, which I'm kind of nervous about, not because it's a petite stitch, but because those dragonfly has like 2 stitches of one color, 2 stitches of another, and I'm like, how am I supposed to fix that floss? On a petite stitch, how are you supposed to fix the floss? Like the pretty way, the nice way, so it doesn't look weird. I guess I will soon find out when I get there. And after I'm gonna finish with those petite stitches dragonflies, there's, I think, a couple more like layers of the frame, and the project gonna be finished. I am enjoying it so much. I absolutely love it. I'm already looking at new Chatelaine designs, but as Teresa Wensler, I feel like I'm not starting another Chatelaine until I finish this one, because same thing with dimensions going to happen then. I'm going to concentrate too much, like I'm gonna split my attention through all those projects. None of them gonna be finished, and it's just gonna be a pile of the whips that just stitching for too long. This next project, it's also dimensions, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. This is Snowflake Elegance Ornaments by Dimensions. That's the number, that's the name. This design is by Sandy Orton, and I do participate in a sale where I was teaching anything by Sandy Orton, and on November 15 I will need to send my before and after, and I really tried to finish it by the time I'm going to film this, but I simply had no time for it, and it's exactly what I am talking about. All the stitching part is done. All I need to do right now is back stitching. All I have left to do is back stitching, and just in this one ornament there's 600 stitches of back stitching is done. All I mean needs to be done. I am stitching on this beautiful lurex fabric, 36 count, and I do think I started with one of the difficult ones. Like the flowers, I feel like gonna be easy. The red cardinal, I feel like maybe the pine cones and the bells gonna be more detailed, but I do think I've started with the most difficult one. The snowflake part was super easy to stitch. It's just, even the middle part, it wasn't difficult. It was just, again, so detailed and so many, like, 2 stitches here, fix your floss, come back to the different color, and it's like just groups of stitching of the same color spread all over it, and that just takes time. But the snowflake on the back, like the snowflake on the back, that took, well, it was fast stitching. It's just white stitch, then half stitch with that darker blue, and a half stitch 1 floss of the light blue around it. And I do like how the sparkles of the fabric, you can see through the stitching I've done, and I'm very, very excited to have this ornaments finished. I think I possibly going to be able to stitch 1 more ornament this year, hopefully more, but I am very motivated because I want to definitely be done by February with all 6 ornaments, because the sale I'm participating, it's for the rest, for a year. And Sandy Orton is one of those designers that almost every single pattern that she ever made, I want to stitch. And I am very motivated. As soon as I finish with this kit, I can start another chart by her, because that's the rule of the sale. You cannot, like, oh, I'm not in the mood for this one, I'll continue. No, they do want you to finish what you started. That's the whole purpose of the sale. So I am very motivated to finish all 6 ornaments by the end of the winter season and start a new pattern by her. As much as I'm trying to finish what I already have started, I'm only human, and when I see a new sale, I want to participate. I started a new, well, it wasn't me who started it, but I am participating in sale where we all stitch in different type of designs for a teddy. So not just the bear, you cannot stitch like a animalistic bear, particular teddy bears. And I showed you this one in one of the recent cross stitch hauls, and when I saw the sale, I immediately thought about this pattern, and I just knew I have to stitch her, because as much as I think she's super, super cute, I don't know what I would ever start her. But here it was a perfect opportunity, perfect reason, and I'm like, why wait if I can start? And this project taught me to, not teach me, but help me to realize and be thankful and grateful for all the designers, including the independent one and the ones that making a kit and the one that making a charts. Be happy for the years we're living in of the technology, because I don't understand how people stitched it back when it was released. I don't know what year it is. I don't think it's there anywhere. I don't see any information of what year this kit was released. I am going to show you everything that I was faced with. She's super cute, she's super adorable, and this is how the pattern looks like. I'm trying to find an angle where the glare is not gonna be that glary. But the pattern has so much back stitching, which is fine. The preview, there's a back stitch in her collar. It doesn't have on the preview. There's this element took me so long to understand what kind of symbol it is, because there's no symbol of that in here, so it's not like stitched all the way or drawn all the way. And then this made me laugh. It says DMC numbers are provided for identification purposes only, but you may contain DMC thread. or may contain domestic thread similar in colors to DMC. And I will put the picture right now to show you. So the way the kit was kitted, it was 2 knots of the floss, and usually when brands do that, they will tell you like, okay, in the knot number 1 you have white, pink, green, purple, whatever, and in knot number 2 it's brown, light brown, dark brown, whatever, gold. No, the colors were similar in both knots. Then this knot had some colors that this one didn't have, so it was a mess. It came with Ida, which I didn't use. And when I started, I'm like, okay, well, in order for me to just make sure that I am separating my floss correctly, I'm going to use my DMC palette chart, and the colors don't match. They say to you, they said, right? They said that they may contain DMC, and the number was put for identification, but will it match? No. So right now, my organizing system looks like a mess, and I'll tell you in a second why. I, as always, use this type of organizers. I like them. Yes, again, they're super bulky, but I love this type of the organizers. I start braiding it right here, and the more I stitch, the more some of the colors I want to change. And that's why I did not braid it on this side, because actually this color I have to change. So this color, I'll tell you what it is. It's 422 DMC floss. And this one I actually got from my stash. This, the floss that was in a kit. And I'm going to answer a little clip right now. Okay, started the bear, and currently it's stitched with the floss that came in a kit. And I want to film this little clip because I am going to get rid of this orange color. I think it's standing out too much. On the hand it looks okay, but that's gonna be bear's face, and the orange part gonna be a big portion of the face, and over here as a shadow gonna be this brown, and I feel like they've way too much contrast. There's possibility I will have to get rid of the darker brown and a lighter brown too, hopefully not, but the orange gotta go. It doesn't blend well. So now I hope you see why I switched the color. This made bear look so patchy. And the colors, the rest of the palette, I actually do like how she's more orange here. My bear, I'm gonna show you in a minute my results, is more ochre, like more sand color, which is fine. Because they did provide the DMC numbers, I was able to make a cross-stitch saga. I'll show it to you. And when I was making a cross-stitch saga, I actually used the DMC floss, the numbers that were on the pattern. So you can kind of compare, because these colors are very close to what it is in real life. This is what she's going to look like with the colors of the DMC, if you will stitch with the DMC, and that's how she looks like on the preview. I think the pinks are matching pretty good, except also fun fact, on the preview it does actually show this dark pink, when in real life it's this type of pink and it doesn't look as bright. We're gonna see it in a minute. And also I need your help. Please tell me, what should I do with this element, the quilt? I do not like these round things. I saw something, now I cannot unsee. I'm not gonna tell you what I saw, but I see something and now I cannot unsee it. I think maybe do them blue. Like take that baby blue and make them blue with a darker blue inside. I also think it's a kind of good idea because it will bring her more out front, especially if I use baby blue. Anyway, I do not like these elements. But enough talking, let's showing. And 28% is already done. She's actually very easy to stitch and very fun to stitch. And here's my bear. It's gonna be a huge bear. I think it's gonna be like 12 by 12. It took me so long to decide on what fabric to stitch. It is, and I, as you can see, stopped my choice on white. I don't know what brand it is, but it's like white, even weave, 28 count. I tried purple. I thought about the green. The perfect color will be like grayish purple, like on the darker side, to make her really pop. But I didn't have the perfect color. I didn't want to color anything. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna go with the white. First, I picked linen, but I see this bear as a pillow at the end. And again, I don't know what brand it is, but this is more, it feels like it made 100% of the cotton. And I feel like, again, I don't know how to sew. I know nothing. It's something that I am definitely looking for in the future and to learn. And I thought this type of fabric will be easy to work with. Let's bring the preview. I'm gonna kind of tell you about all my ideas, and maybe you agree or disagree, and maybe you can tell me how can I make those ideas to come true. So, fun fact, there's a little bit more than 12,000 stitches, including all the French knots, which on preview you see no French knots, but there's actually a lot of French knots. And it's gonna be in her color right here. Right here you're gonna see these dots right here. It is a French knots, which I am going to do the beads. So I'm definitely gonna do beads on her dress. If I will find big enough, I even thought to put the heart over here. I thought to stitch it with a gold thread to bring out her locket, but I don't want locket to be a center of attention, and I don't see where else I can put cranic. I don't know. I don't want to make it too sparkly, if it makes sense. I like that vintagey, simple look. Like the back stitching is very fun. And about the fun fact, there's around 12,000 stitches, including the French knots, the back stitching, and the cross stitching, where 4,000 something stitches, it's the back stitch. There is a lot of back stitch, but it's very easy. It's that all the very corner back stitch, like a very sharp corner back stitch, and the way I do it, even on the spots like this or here, when technically you can just put from corner to corner, I do it every square to keep that effect. Again, as you can see, she has a border, and if you watch any of my flip through magazines, I immediately thought about that idea when, instead of stitching this frame, I can get a lace or ribbon, I think that's the name of it, and I can do a ribbon instead. And I immediately thought, then I don't really need to stitch this part, because this one I can add a lace, especially if it's going to be a pillow. So that will help me a lot of finishing as fast as possible this project, because if I will not stitch that alone probably 1,000 if not 2 of stitches. But I need to get there first. I'm going to finish the bear. As you can see, almost half of her is done. Probably by now I finished this part too, but again, today, for example, I spent almost all of my time just the back stitching that beautiful bow on her head, because again, a lot of back stitching, and especially the way I chose to do it, I do it every square, so it does take more time than just do one big long back stitching. I started her on this Saturday and I'm filming it on Tuesday, so Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 4 days, and 28% is done. From that clip you can see the orange floss that I stitched at the beginning. I frogged and I substituted for this color. So technically, again, because when I was making Cross Stitch Saga, I used the DMC that the numbers on the pattern, you're supposed to use this one. However, this type of the brown was more matching with the darker brown, and then the lighter brown that you barely even can see right here on her face, it's closer to this color. So I think I found a perfect color to match with the floss that came in the kit. I did had a thought about just toss all this floss because none of them match with any of the DMC colors. I do think it's just a random no name Mulina floss, but I'm like, it came with a kit, I paid money for it, it needs to be used, so we're just going to use as much as I can and substitute with stitching it, you know. So like what happened with this color, I didn't want it, I substituted, and as for right now, I am pretty happy with everything else. I was debating on a light blue and a light green color because I feel like they are out of place, like the gradient didn't work there, like the light green right here and a light blue points, like they too out of that color gradient, like the neighbor colors to it, are they too out? But now I look at it and I kind of like it. It makes it more vintagey, it gives it a character, and as for right now, I am keeping it as it is. So as for right now, I did only one substitution. I chose this color over this one. But this is my newest start, so I had all of it in the past 2 weeks. A new start, a finish, a good progress, and I don't know how it works and why it works, but every time I have a new start, it gives me motivation on working on the project that I already started. Probably kind of like, okay, if I started a new one, I really need to finish the whips that I already had. As for right now, I have 20 finishes in this year, and I think it would be cool if I will have at least 24 finishes for 2024, 24 finishes. That's the goal. Well, that was it. That's everything that I've stitched in the past couple weeks. Thank you so much for spending your time with me. Please let me know your thoughts, the comments, what you like the most, how do you like my finish, which one of the projects I really should work on, which one you want to see more progress on, or what you think about the bear, how cute she is, and what you're thinking about my idea to add a ribbon and a lace instead of stitching it. Please let me know. I love to hear and read your opinion. Thank you so much for spending your time with me. Happy stitching, happy week. I will see you next one.